So we're going to talk about hearsay, and we consider this just the broad topic for you're the agent for a property and someone out of the blue calls you to tell you something about your own listing, generally something negative, and now is that something that you have to disclose to other parties? And if so, how do you do that? In general, we would put that in the category of hearsay. And so there's 4 things that you want to make sure that do get disclosed. You don't know what they told you is true, but you did hear it. So you don't want to be in the position to not relay this information. You do need to relay it as a part of the disclosures. How do you do that? And so there's 4 things you would do. You want to relay who said it, what did they say, when did they say it, and then you want to disclaim that you haven't verified or confirmed this information. So this isn't coming from you, it's coming from them. Those 4 things are really important. So if this is a neighbor, it's okay for you to put in a disclosure, neighbor so-and-so, their name, even if you have their contact information because they called you, so-and-so, here's their phone number, you can include that. So the recipient of this disclosure that you're giving, if they want to verify it, they can call that person, they know who said it, they can reach out and make their own determination if this is real information or not. When they said it is important. So did they tell you this a week ago? Did they tell you this 5 years ago? You want to be clear of when this information was given to you. And then what they said, this is where you just relay what was said. This is not a place to expand on that, give your interpretation of it. You just, here's what this neighbor told me, the end. You don't say more than that, and then you'll include a disclaimer that basically says, I did not verify or confirm this information. Buyer can choose to investigate if they would like. So something along those lines. We have kind of a sample sentence you could include in, for example, your agent visual inspection disclosure, which is visual in nature, but has a section for other material facts that you might know of. You can include that. This same framework, if you would like, sometimes it's useful for a seller who says, I don't think this is true, but this is what I heard from my neighbor. A seller can use this same framework for disclosing hearsay in their own TDS or SPQ as a part of their disclosures. With that, bottom line is you have to disclose hearsay. If it was important enough for some neighbor to tell you, it's very likely important and something a buyer would care about. So you want to make sure as the representative of the seller, that seller's protected by getting that disclosure out in a timely manner to the buyer, signed off, and then it closes and it's not a concern that comes up afterwards. The reason I mentioned that about it coming up afterwards is if this neighbor or whoever else it was that decided to come tell this to you, then you can virtually guarantee that the day after escrow closes, that same neighbor will make a point of coming to talk to the new buyers and say, did you know such and such about the property? And I told the agent, I can't believe he didn't tell you. So you don't want to be in that position. And if someone went out of their way enough to tell you or to tell the seller, you can almost guarantee they will be very eager to tell the new buyer, so you want to get that disclosure out of the way. In this example, I'm talking about a neighbor that went out of their way to tell you this. It could be any number of other things, right? So this could actually be maybe another buyer that was interested that told you something. It could have been someone that came through an open house that was, did you know this about this property? It could be an agent that told you about something because they worked on this property years in the past. They had represented someone on the same property or in the same neighborhood or whatever it might be. So whether it's a neighbor, open house guest, another buyer, competing buyer in some cases, if it could be important to a potential buyer, then it does need to get disclosed, and use this framework as a nice handy way to do it. So hopefully that helps, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. If you learned something or if this helped you solve a problem, follow me for more.